Hi everybody, here we are on day 6 of my educational series on how to boost your immune system and how to build confidence in returning to the outside world post-lockdown. And I'm delighted to talk to you today. Thanks everybody for joining me. If you're watching it live and if you're watching on replay, welcome to you too. And thanks ever so much for continuing to invite your friends and family to listen in as well. The community is building and I'm just delighted because I think this is really important information and it's so empowering. Information is so empowering, isn't it? To have that knowledge and then you can have the confidence in yourself and your body's ability to be able to cope with whatever is outside in the world. So today we're going to talk about exercise and its role in boosting your immune system. Again, just to recap, we started by talking about the stress mechanism and how stress causes inflammation. Now, inflammation uses up huge amounts of energy, doesn't it? And so many people that I work with, they experience a very profound lack of energy, whether it be that they can't sleep or they can't move, they've got aches and pains in their joints, their muscles ache, whatever it is, it's a sign to show them that their internal cellular energy is low. And that is because the stress mechanism takes huge amounts of energy and all the energy is diverted to the brain and the immune system for survival. It's great when we need it, but if it's turned on all the time, then we've got a problem. And so people find that they can't move their bodies so well. Or on the other side of the coin, they just want to move them so much more because the stress, the buildup of cortisol, prolactin, all these different hormones that are produced in the fight-flight mechanism build up in the body and it just needs to be released. So a lot of people that I come across really exercise, I would say, too much, or they don't exercise in balance to balance their nervous system. It's a response to the nervous system being overactive, that they have this absolute drive to really push themselves, whether it be in the gym or they're runners or long distance cyclists or whatever it is. They just need to be doing, with an end game. They've just really got to burn off all that adrenaline and everything, all those other hormones that are coursing through their bodies. Now you can see that is not ideal. It's a bit like having to have a coffee first thing in the morning to get your body going. Not ideal really, and has its consequences. So when we understand that right now particularly we're all under a certain amount of stress regarding the lockdown, we're going to have that inflammatory response working. We're going to have that extra need for energy, and we've talked in previous sessions about why we might be reaching for those extra snacks and so forth. It's just to feed that stress mechanism, the energy required for the body to deal with, fanning the flames of the inflammation. So with that in mind, exercise can be very much used to balance and restore calm in the body, just as much as to release those extra adrenaline and other hormones that are produced. So some running or vigorous exercise can be a good thing, but not too much. So that, when we talk about everything in balance, that's partly what we're talking about here with exercise. When we're in fight-flight, the sympathetic nervous system is highly active. We're hyper alert to whatever danger there is. And so the other side of the coin to that is the parasympathetic nervous system. And that's what is engaged when we're digesting, for example. So the rest and digest part of our nervous system. And we can activate the parasympathetic nervous system through certain types of exercise. The types that might be yoga, you know, where you're stretching, you're still using body weight and you're using your muscles, but you're in a much more calm state when you're moving your body. The sympathetic nervous system types of exercise would be more the running, cycling, you know, swimming, but only if you're really swimming, you know, really a lot, you know, just like with an end game, not just bobbing around and having a bit of a splash and fun. That's a different type of swimming. But you could also be doing other parasympathetic type exercise in your everyday life. So gardening, for example. Yesterday I was in my garden all day, digging and planting and weeding, and you know, or by evening I could really feel, you know, all my muscles felt, you know, nicely sore. And really, when we've exercised, we should have that response. We should feel nicely sore, because we have to, in order to build muscle, we have to break down. So we should have that slight soreness. When we've overdone it, we know it, because it really does, you know, we really hurt. And in my view, when people are under a long-term stress, they don't have the internal energy to do too much endurance exercise. So really and truly, the best thing to do is the strength exercises to begin with and build up the endurance. So mainly focusing on the strength exercise. So that can be, again, very everyday things like, you know, lifting up your shopping bags to and from the car, for example, or from the supermarket, where if you're on foot. You know, that is weightlifting, isn't it? And really and truly, we need to be looking at our upper body. Our upper body strength is absolutely key to our survival. Again, it's part of our limbic system. So a lot of people focus on their lower body, but we really want upper body. And that's why things like yoga, again, can be so valuable, because, you know, I don't know if anybody does yoga, but, you know, a lot of the positions are using body weight to be in, to breathe into, and so you are strengthening your upper body. And this is part of the mechanism, our primal mechanism there. We would have had to climb a tree to get away from the lion, as it were. So even if you've got no core cellular energy, we still would be able to climb a tree. It's amazing. You can't imagine it, can you? But if you were in extreme danger, your body has this amazing ability to switch into this sort of burst of energy that's needed to get away from the danger. And that is why, you may have heard of this, something called high intensity interval training is really, really good, because you don't need a lot of core cellular energy for this. It doesn't get you into that endurance aerobic exercise where you're going to build up lactic acid, and that's, you know, the way your muscles really burn with pain when you've built up too much lactic acid. High intensity interval training means that you don't get to that place, because you're only doing 30 seconds of high intensity. So that would say for example, you are running, that would be a burst of 30 seconds only. So under a minute, you're not going to be moving into the aerobic, you're in the anaerobic state of exercise, and you're not going to be building up that lactic acid. Then you walk or gently run, so that you can regain your breath, you can regain that balance again before you do the next burst. So you do a minute and a half of that type of more calm movement. You don't stop still, you just move gently, and then you start again, another burst. So you could build up. You could start with a couple of bursts if you really haven't got any energy, and build up to maybe 8 bursts over 20 minutes, let's say. That is the equivalent of going for miles and miles of a run in terms of its effect on the body. And so I always recommend this to the people that I work with, to start with high intensity interval training. You can even do that at home. You don't really even have to be outside. You could do a burst running up and down the stairs, You could do some chair lunges. So you put your arms on the chair, your feet, you can't see my feet, but I'm going to dip down so you'll know I'm doing it. So here we go. So you can actually use your arms to dip down into a chair press up if you like. You can go on the wall and use your body weight like a plank to do a wall press up. You could do some squats over your chair, or like when you go to the loo or something like that, you could do some squats. And all of this is great exercise. It's moving your body in the right way to release the inflammatory markers and bring you into a state of calm. And so the very best time to do exercise like that, like I've just explained, wall press ups, squats, lunges from the chair, would be before you eat. Now, not many people think about this. They think, oh, I need to eat before I go to exercise. I must have my breakfast or something in me before I go to exercise. Actually, it's quite the reverse. The best thing to do would be to eat after exercise. This is much more anti-inflammatory. Your body is put in the right state in order to receive the food. If you think about it, we didn't have fridges filled with food back in the day. We would have had to go forage for our food, and then we would have sat down to eat it. So we would have moved our bodies before eating. So I always like this sort of notion of, we haven't evolved more than a fraction of a percentage from the days when we would have had to forage for our food. So our bodies are primed and designed for this cycle, this rhythm. So eat after, and eat protein, and boost your immune molecules, like we talked about before, your supplements of vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, because when we exercise too long, and I'm not talking about this if you've just done some high intensity, but say, for example, you've done a really long endurance run or walk, and you really do feel quite exhausted afterwards, your body has already gone into an inflammatory response. And this is why we find, extreme athletes do find that their immune system is quite compromised and they need to boost it. But just bearing in mind right now, it's always a good idea to be boosting the immune system from all angles, multi-pronged. If you do want to get any equipment at all, I would recommend those pull-up bars that you can put on a door frame. Again, it's just to really build your upper body strength. And again, you could just do a few of those before you sit down to your meal. Otherwise, really, body weight is perfectly adequate. The next thing I want to say is that any exercise you do should be fun. That F-U-N word needs to come into your world as much as you can in every guise, whether you're cooking, whatever activity you're doing, and the same with exercise. If you're going to the gym, not at the moment, obviously, but if you were going to the gym because you felt you ought to, then that is a stress. So can you see, if anything, whatever you're doing, if it's a stress to you, it's going to be producing inflammation. So try and do things that you like. For me, I just love gardening. I love to go down to the sea and have a swim. But I'm not swimming as in doing lengths of a pool. I'm swimming to have fun. Yeah, so I'm moving my body, I'm running in the water, I'm swimming a bit, bobbing around if I want, but I'm having a nice time, and that's really important. And the same with my gardening. I find it very meditative because you're very focused, it's very mindful. So again, just pick what suits you. And your family, maybe as a group. Always doing things socially is great as well. So if you're at work and sat at a desk all day long, I really recommend that you get up every hour and do some of these chair lunges, run up and down the stairs, do the squats, the wall press-ups, whatever it is. Move your body. Just only need to do it for a minute or two, literally, and then you can go back to work again. This just helps to get everything going, releases that energy and the stress and the tension that from that sort of concentrated position at the computer. So that's another top tip, very important. In terms of other immune support, our lymphatics can get a little bit stuck if we're a bit overloaded. So that cross elbow to other knee, couple of, a minute or 30 seconds of those, very good as well. Just helps to get the lymph moving in our groin and our armpits there, and also very good for left right brain and all of that. So that's really all I have to say about exercise. It is a little bit more complicated than just going for that run. As soon as lockdown happened, we saw everybody took up running, didn't they? And that's all seems to have sort of settled down now. And the people that were running before are continuing. But people are finding the things that they enjoy doing, and I would encourage you to just check out what it is for you. And if you're prone to doing too much exercise, I urge you to look at doing the more calming exercise as well. You don't have to give up the vigorous, but just have that balance. Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow I shall be talking to you about naturopathic techniques and how vital and important, and it's like a first aid kit, if you like, for your immune system. And I look forward to talking to you about that tomorrow, 12:15. Please do join me, and please do continue to share and invite your friends to hear what I have to say. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.